Hi, here we are at the final essay of our semester. The Postmodernism / Post-Colonialism Essay. Please choose one of the following topics and construct an argumentative essay based on research and your own close reading of the primary text. Okay, so we have some very interesting works to look at. The first is Samuel Beckett's play Waiting for Godot. Question, or questions I should say, is what is the play saying about human suffering? What is it saying about possible salvation? This is the kind of question that should allow you to dig very deeply into Beckett's play. Another question. Pick one of the characters, meaning the major characters, from Zadie Smith's short story, The Waiter's Wife. Examine how he or she responds to the experience of being an immigrant in London. Zadie Smith's short story, The Waiter's Wife, is basically not exactly an excerpt, but it's taken from her novel, White Teeth, if you're familiar with that. You may consider issues such as language, dress, manners, money, status, marital or romantic expectations, cultural assimilation, or isolation. Any other issue that can help explore the immigrant experience. Okay, because there's a lot in this short story going on. Another question you may choose to write on. How is Doris Lessing's short story To Room 19 a story of failure? Now, right off the bat, when you read the short story, the very first sentence says this is a failure of intelligence. You might agree with that. You might actually disagree with that. You might think it's a different sort of failure. You must focus on something specific. Develop your argument with that as your focus. Okay, so there is failure in this story, no doubt. Is it really a failure of intelligence, or is it some other kind of failure? That's what I want you to really think about. Then we have two other short stories, which I've kind of lumped together into a single question, but you're really only supposed to respond to one of the stories when you do. Choose either J.M. Coetzee's Waiting for Barbarians, which again is an excerpt from a larger book called Waiting for Barbarians, or Kazuyo Ishiguro's Village After Dark, and argue how it serves as an allegory for the colonial experience of the colonizer and the colonized. Okay, if you're not familiar with the term allegory, better look it up. Basically, it's a symbolic story, right, where the characters and actions are representative of something even greater. Now, the paper is due to be submitted to Canvas by Friday, August the 13th. Okay, so normally we have a Monday due date, but keep in mind this Friday, or Friday the 13th, I should say, sounds ominous, is the last day of the semester. So Canvas will close down to you after that, so do not be late. Be sure to follow the out-of-class essay guidelines for matters of form and style. Use correct MLA documentation as described in the MLA for Literature class handout and the current MLA handbook. Okay, some of you are still not doing very well with that. It's not that tough. You just have to actually pay attention to what you're doing. Maybe be a little bit more detail-oriented than what you've been. Be sure to include a word count at the end of your essay. Some of you have not been doing that. And frankly, usually the people who are not doing that are people who are short. I don't mean short in stature. I mean short in terms of the essay count, word count, right? You're trying to hide the fact that you haven't written enough. Trust me, I'll know. Remember, you must meet minimum requirements, including the word count, source requirements, and the subject matter requirements. No late essays will be accepted. Remember, this is the end of our semester. So the minimum requirements are, again, lengthwise, still pretty modest, 1,000 to approximately 1,400 words. You can always go a little bit longer, but I'm not looking for a 3,000 word essay. Probably would be pretty annoyed if you did that. Citations from at least 4 different sources. Now remember, that's at least. You can always have more. At least one of the sources must be the primary text. So Waiting for Godot, The Waiter's Wife, To Room 19, Waiting for Barbarians, or Village After Dark, right? And at least 2 of those sources must be from scholarly works, such as peer-reviewed journals, university press books. Academic dissertations are, of course, also eligible. And a 4th source can be a source of its whatever. It must still be a credible analytical source. Some of you have been very sloppy or lazy, I'm not quite sure what the right word is, in your choice of sources, and some of them, quite honestly, are not that credible. So you need to make sure that your sources are good sources, even if they're not the scholarly sources that I've just described. Remember, our textbook counts only as a primary text. Okay, so if you take anything out of Greenblatt's editorial comments, that's great. That doesn't count as one of those 4 sources. And as I just got done saying, you may have more than 4. Okay. Please remember to make sure you have good MLA format in presentation and documentation, including correct works cited. Remember, the MLA is in its 9th edition. As far as I can tell, that's pretty much the same as the 8th edition. I know it's not the same as the 7th edition, and some of you have been doing some sloppy work putting in 7th edition formats, because maybe that's what you were taught in high school or something, I don't know, but we need to up our game. And no other APA and that kind of stuff, because that will definitely hurt your grade. Okay, so good luck with this. If you have any questions, please, of course, contact me either by email or by Canvas Messenger. Okay, take care.